Hey, welcome in, guys. I told you I'd make a little video here to kind of walk you through the extra credit activity. So remember today you are finishing your test in class and getting that done. So I put everything in the same folder from yesterday and today. It's got the same directions in here. So make sure you're getting that paper copy of the test from the substitute today and then going into Edge Elastic and getting all your answers done for that test. Remember, you also have this little document here in Schoology where you can take a look at the different forms if you need to for each of the equations. All right, so let's take a look at this stained glass window project, extra credit information, kind of talk you through a couple of things with this and show you a tool you can help use when you're trying to complete this extra credit project. All right, so we got our project here. If you didn't get a paper copy of this, I left the paper copy in the coordinate grid at my teacher's desk, so you can get that from the sub if you need to as you work through this. But we're in the stained glass window project here. The whole purpose of this is to create a stained glass window using lines. So our linear equations that we've graphed in different forms represent different lines and types of slope. So what you'll need: graph paper, some sort of straight edge, whether it's a ruler or something else like that, and or coloring materials, computer programming with design functions. So I'm going to show you guys how you can use the Desmos graphing calculator here in a minute to kind of help you out with this. But as you're working through this, some things to think about, right? What you want to start with is start by clearly graphing the X and Y axis using your straight edge. You should already have that kind of figured out for you on your graph paper that I have printed for you. But if you end up using your own graph paper for whatever reason, you want to make sure you've got that figured out. And then it says graph at least 3 linear equations with a positive slope. So they can be any linear equations you want as long as they have positive slope. Since we are graphing, you probably want to write them in slope-intercept form, so something along the lines of like y equals 3x plus 2, or we could do y equals even 1/2 x plus 3, something like that. Okay, or even y equals 1/2 x. Sorry, I forgot that there. Let's do, probably don't want to go too far, so because I think we only go up to 17 or so. So let's do y equals 5x minus 6. Okay, those are all examples where you've got positive slope, and you can go from there. All right. It also says graph 3 equations with a negative slope. Write their equations on the line and list them below. So again, you can think of maybe the opposites of what you had. So y equals negative 3x plus 2. I could do y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. And I could do y equals negative 5x minus 6. Just kind of thinking about some different things that could be possible here, right? You're going to go through the rest of this list. It says graph at least 2 lines with a 0 slope. So remember what that means. We want a horizontal line, right, when it's a 0 slope. So if I'm on my graph here, I'm thinking x and y, I want a horizontal line. So that's when my y equals something, right? So think about that when you're creating this. And it says graph at least 2 lines with an undefined slope. That would be when you're looking at your graph, right? It's a vertical line where all of your x values are equal to something. Okay, so that would be one where you want to list 2 of those as well. Then you want to color and design your picture. So really all we're talking about here, right, is a total of 10 lines to graph, right? You've got 3 that have a positive slope, 3 that have a negative slope, 2 of those 0 slope lines, and 2 of those lines with an undefined slope. You can get even further with this if you really want to, okay, but some examples of some different things that people came up with are pictures here on there. Your rubric, or what you're scored on, is based on fitting all of the descriptions here, right? So as long as you have all 10 of your equations correct, you draw all the lines and they're clearly labeled. That's a big thing, making sure that you label them on here. Or if you want to put like a number next to the line, people have done that before, and then on the back they write the equation. Regardless, however you want to handle that, it's up to you. And then obviously if you have some creativity, you've colored it, it looks really nice, you'll get your points that way. Remember, this is out of 12 total points, but we're talking 12 assessment points. Okay, so that means a difference between, right, Like if you got 12 extra assessment points, that's the difference between a B to a C, or an A to a B, that kind of thing. So you want to make sure that you're going through here, right, and doing your best in terms of creating different types of equations, different lines, and all those things when you think about this. All right, so make sure you're taking your time, you're going through, and you are answering these questions and getting all of your graphs the way that you want them to look, all of that kind of stuff involved there. All right, I'm going to give you guys till Tuesday after the break, so November 10th. So you have the whole long break to work on this, and then even a day when we get back from break as well. So take a look at this. If you have questions about what's expected, that kind of thing, think about how you can kind of look at graphs and the way they would be designed, and how they can help you answer some questions in terms of what kind of design you're looking for. One last thing I will show you is the Desmos graphing calculator. I'll link this with the video here, but this would be a good way to kind of check your graphs and see what it looks like, and kind of go from there in terms of what you maybe want to try to use as your design, that kind of thing. So in this calculator, I can type in my equations. So let's say I do y equals, I already forgot what a couple of them were. Let's scroll back up here and see. Y equals 3x plus 2, right? So if I want to see what that looks like, I can write that here. I think I also did the opposite of that when I did my negative one. So y equals a negative 3x plus 2, right? And so you can see the opposite, how that kind of creates a cool design here. Let's say maybe I wanted one of my horizontal lines to be y equals 10. Actually, let's do y equals 6, so it fits on the screen here. So, and I could do even y equals negative 6, get the opposite of that. So you can kind of play around with this, use it to see how your designs can be created with your lines and those types of things, and that just help with the overall project itself as well. All right, so you can write out your work here, your equations on your page here, and then go back and graph them. Make sure you label them. This is a really good example. This colored version right here, you can see how some of the graphs are labeled on there. So people have done that in the past, or they've, like I said, they put a number next to each line, and then on the back wrote the equation out. However you want to do it, just make sure that you've got them all labeled. That way they're easily identified, and you can go through and get your points for this. All right. Work through this after you get done with your test today. If you have questions, just reach out to me and I can answer those for you. Otherwise, enjoy your break, and we'll see you when you guys get back to school on the 9th.